The Packers have played their 4 quarters. Now it's time for the 5th quarter.
Pleasure to welcome my guest tonight. Guy I've known a very long time. Was one of the first guys I met when I started on the beat way back in the late 70s. Wrote for the Green Bay Press-Gazette, then the Milwaukee Journal. He's authored a couple of books on the Packers, and now he is the team historian at 1265. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the 5th quarter, Cliff Crystal. Hello, Clifford. I've been talking to you for years and years, and once you got involved and got your hands on a lot of the archives, there'd been a lot of misinformation about the Packers early days.
Most of it is misinformation.
How did that happen?
Well, nobody really paid attention to it until the 1950s. And that was 30 years after the fact, and then they just trusted people's memories. And those memories were flawed, as they usually are after that period of time. And so not much of anything in most of the history books about the Packers is right, at least in terms of their birth and their history in the first decade or so.
What did you find maybe was the most glaring either omission or misrepresentation about how this team really got its foothold and everything else?
Well, there's a lot of misinformation about the first meeting, how it all came about. And, you know, as Lee Rummel used to always tell me, Curly Lambeau was a congenital liar. So Lee said you couldn't believe a word he said. So I think some of it started with Curly and, you know, why did he leave Notre Dame? Why didn't he go back? There's a lot of questions like that we'll never know. But people have written things as though it's fact about why he left, and nobody can prove a lot of what has been written.
And I can imagine Curly, being the way I understood him to be, really perpetuated these kinds of things. And since he was around here for the first 40 years of this thing, 30 years of this thing, that it was just taken as gospel.
Well, nothing's ever, very rarely is something clear cut. Something like the Packers are founded, it develops over time. And I think both Calhoun and Lambeau wanted to make sure they were credited for the start. You know, for years until into the 1930s, the Packers press book would include a short little item about how the team was founded in 1918. And I think that was because Calhoun was involved really in 1918. Lambeau wasn't. He wanted to make sure he got credit for that, and he was writing the press guide. But I really do believe 1919 was the birth of the team.
Okay.